On the outskirts of the bustling Metropolis 5, where the city's metallic sheen met the untamed green of the wildlands, there stood a public school uniquely equipped to handle both human and extraterrestrial students. This integration, though common across other planets in the Galactic Union, was still a novelty here, and not all residents were welcoming of the change. Among the recent transfers was Illyria, a girl not of this world or any other known to the local registry. Her skin shimmered with a soft luminescence that shifted subtly with her moods, from a calm aqua to a fiery magenta, and her eyes mirrored the vastness of a starry night. Rumors swirled about her origin. Some said she was from a distant star system, others whispered of a covert government experiment. But all agreed on one thing: Illyria was someone to be wary of. At Metropolis 5 School, the integration of alien students was overseen by Principal Jenkins, a stout man with a relentless optimism about interspecies harmony. His efforts, however, couldn't bridge all the gaps. Illyria, for all her calm and quiet demeanor, faced isolation. Her peers, influenced by their parents' fears and the sensational stories circulated in the media, kept their distance, except for one. Eli, a relatively unremarkable boy in most respects, medium height, a mop of unruly brown hair, and a penchant for old Earth music, watched Illyria from afar. His curiosity overcame the trepidation that seemed to grip everyone else. Over days and weeks, he observed her habits, the way she'd tilt her head to listen more intently, or how she'd sketch unknown flora in her notebooks during breaks. Driven by a mix of empathy and curiosity, Eli decided to make a move that none had dared. One autumn afternoon, as golden leaves danced around the schoolyard like a flurry of sparks, he approached her. The playground, usually abuzz with shouts and laughter, fell eerily silent as he walked across the field towards where Illyria sat alone, her eyes fixed on a book about Earth's extinct species. "Hi," Eli said, standing a respectful distance away. "I noticed you're reading about saber-toothed tigers. They're pretty fascinating, aren't they?" Illyria looked up, her eyes widening slightly as if surprised by his presence. It took a moment for her to respond, her voice carrying a melodic quality that hinted at her otherworldly nature. "Yes, they are interesting. It's sad they are no longer around," she replied, her gaze steady and inquisitive. "I'm Eli," he continued, encouraged by her response. "I think it's cool you like Earth history. Not many do these days." Illyria closed her book gently, her expression softening. "I am Illyria. Thank you for speaking with me, Eli. Not many are willing to." Their conversation began with cautious exchanges about extinct animals, and slowly over the ensuing days, expanded to include their favorite subjects at school, music from different galaxies, and the peculiarities of human holidays. Eli learned that Illyria's species could manipulate bioluminescent proteins, which explained her skin's changing hues. As autumn deepened into winter, their friendship blossomed against the backdrop of ongoing skepticism. Eli's classmates questioned his judgment, while adults whispered concerns about safety. Yet every day, as Eli and Illyria shared lunches and walked the corridors together, those voices became mere background noise to their burgeoning bond. Unbeknownst to them, their unusual alliance was about to be tested by events larger than their schoolyard. In the corridors of power, where the fate of alien integration was debated, the story of a boy and his alien friend was drawing attention, setting the stage for challenges neither of them could have anticipated. As the winter chill settled over Metropolis 5, the relationship between Eli and Illyria became a beacon of intrigue, and, for some, concern. In the high chambers where the city's elders convened, discussions intensified around the implications of their friendship. The integration policy was still in its infancy, and every action Illyria and Eli took seemed to ripple through the political landscape, prompting debates and policies. Back at school, the pair found solace in their shared isolation, turning the library into their sanctuary. The vast archives of galactic history and multi-species sociology became their playground, with each book they read together helping to build a bridge not just between two individuals, but potentially between two species. One crisp morning, as they delved into a particularly dense tome on the diplomatic rituals of the Andromeda entities, They were interrupted by the arrival of Miss Thompson, the school's librarian. She was a wiry woman with keen eyes and a knack for finding the perfect book for even the most reluctant reader. Today, her expression bore traces of concern. "Eli, Illyria," she began, her voice lower than usual. "There's been some talk among the faculty. It's about the two of you." Eli looked up, his brow furrowed. "What kind of talk?" "It's not necessarily bad," Miss Thompson hastened to add, "but it's unusual. You two are drawing a lot of attention, not just here but beyond these walls. Some are calling it a case study in interspecies interaction." Illyria's luminescent skin flickered with a pale blue hue, signaling her apprehension. Is this attention going to cause problems for Eli? Her concern was evident, highlighting the depth of their friendship. "It might," Miss Thompson admitted, tucking a stray lock of hair behind her ear, "but it also presents an opportunity. You're both becoming symbols of what the future could look like." Determined to shield their little world from external pressures, Eli and Illyria decided to take their inquiries a step further. If their friendship was to be a model, they would ensure it was one worth emulating. They started organizing small group discussions with other students, inviting them to join their readings and share their own experiences and cultural insights. These gatherings grew in popularity, eventually catching the attention of the school's extracurricular committee, who proposed to formalize these sessions into a school club. Dubbed the Intergalactic Relations Club, it aimed to foster understanding and collaboration among the diverse student body. Meanwhile, beyond the school's confines, the narrative of their friendship had sparked a series of artistic endeavors. Local artists began to depict Eli and Illyria in murals and digital artworks, symbolizing Metropolis 5's aspirations for harmony. Each piece told a story of unity and exploration, casting the two friends as pioneers on a new frontier. However, with visibility came vulnerability. The more they were seen as emblems of integration, the more they found themselves scrutinized by those who viewed Illyria's presence as a threat. Disguised as policy debates and safety concerns, xenophobic sentiments began to seep into the community, manifesting in protests against the so-called risks of alien residence. Eli and Illyria, once just students curious about each other's worlds, now found themselves at the heart of a societal shift. They had unwittingly become the faces of change, champions of a cause neither had intended to spearhead. As the end of the school year approached, they prepared for what would be their most significant test yet, a public forum intended to address the community's fears and hopes for the future. As they stood together, the library's soft glow casting long shadows behind them, they realized that their bond, formed from shared curiosity and nurtured through countless shared discoveries, had grown into something profound, a testament to the power of understanding and acceptance in a world brimming with unseen possibilities. As spring ushered in renewal and growth, the atmosphere within Metropolis 5 contrasted starkly with the blooming landscapes. The public forum, eagerly anticipated and dreaded in equal measure, was set to be a crucial moment for Eli and Illyria. The auditorium was a vast arena of echoing voices and mixed sentiments, a microcosm of the city's diverging views on alien integration. On the day of the forum, Eli and Illyria walked side by side towards the stage, their steps measured and resolute. The audience was a mosaic of species, humans interspersed with beings from various corners of the galaxy, their appearances ranging from the slightly unusual to the outright exotic. Whispers filled the air, some of cordial curiosity, others tinged with undisguised hostility. Moderating the event was Dr. Lana Myrick, an esteemed anthropologist known for her work in interspecies relations. Her presence lent the forum a gravitas that both calmed and intimidated the younger speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, beings of all origins," Dr. Myrick began, her voice commanding yet warm. "Today we discuss not just the future of these two young individuals, but the potential future of our entire community. Let us proceed with openness and respect." The first to speak were representatives from the local government, their speeches polished yet cautious, highlighting the benefits of diversity while acknowledging the challenges of integration. Next, a group of activists took the stage, their messages passionate and pleading, calling for an embrace of the new and unknown as a vital step towards progress. When it was their turn, Eli took a deep breath, glancing at Illyria, whose skin shimmered with a soft, comforting light. He spoke first, his voice steadier than he felt. "We started as just two students curious about each other's histories and stories. What we've learned is that understanding doesn't just change how we view each other, it changes how we view the world." Illyria continued, "Our friendship is not a threat. It is evidence of what can be achieved when we look beyond fear. We share more similarities than differences, and through this, we find stronger grounds for peace than for conflict." The responses from the audience varied. Some nodded in agreement, others whispered in skepticism. The question and answer segment was a volley of concerns and congratulations, each query a reflection of the community's uncertainty and hope. As the forum drew to a close, Dr. Myrick addressed the crowd once more. "What we've witnessed here today is a beginning, the opening of a dialogue that is long overdue. Let us take what we've learned and continue this conversation beyond these walls." Leaving the stage, Eli and Illyria felt the weight of the moment. Their words had stirred something in Metropolis 5, a ripple that might yet grow into a wave of change. In the following weeks, their intergalactic relations club saw a surge in membership, with students from various backgrounds eager to join in their mission of mutual understanding. Yet, not all were moved to change. Shadows lingered on the edges of their success, with some factions doubling down on their resistance, viewing the forum's outcomes as a challenge to their entrenched beliefs. Threats veiled as warnings began to circulate, suggesting that the path to harmony would be fraught with more obstacles than anticipated. In the privacy of their favorite corner in the library, Eli and Illyria reviewed the recordings of the forum, analyzing the reactions and planning their next steps. They knew that the true measure of their impact would not be the applause or the immediate swell of support, but in how they navigated the challenges that lay ahead. They were no longer just friends. They were partners in a delicate dance of diplomacy and advocacy, poised to shape the future of their city and perhaps in time, of the galaxy itself. As the semester edged towards its close, the city of Metropolis 5 felt the shifting tides brought on by Eli and Illyria's advocacy. The once simmering tensions began to boil over, manifesting in protests both for and against the broader acceptance of extraterrestrial beings. Each demonstration seemed to echo through the corridors of the school, leaving its mark on the students and faculty alike. One late afternoon, under the golden hue of a setting sun, Eli and Illyria met at their usual spot in the library, surrounded by the gentle rustle of pages and the murmur of distant conversations. The mood was somber. The news of a planned large-scale protest had just broken, aimed directly at halting the progress they had fought so hard to achieve. "We need to do something," Eli said, his hands clenched into fists on the table. "If we let this go unchallenged, it could undo everything." Illyria nodded, her face illuminated by the soft light filtering through the library's high windows. "We have the Intergalactic Relations Club and we have support. Perhaps it's time to show that support in the open, to counter the fear with solidarity." The decision was made. They would organize a counter-protest, a peaceful demonstration of the unity that the Intergalactic Relations Club had fostered among the student body. Flyers were designed, speeches written, and permissions sought. The club's membership swelled as the event approached, each new member a testament to the cause's growing appeal. The day of the protest arrived with a palpable tension in the air. The school grounds served as the gathering point for the counter-protest, chosen for its symbolic value as a place of learning and integration. Eli, Illyria, and their fellow club members assembled early, their signs painted with messages of peace and unity. Across the street, the opposing protest was already in full swing, with banners that spoke of preservation and protection, words that to Eli's ears were cloaked in fear and misunderstanding. The air was thick with chants and counter-chants, the atmosphere charged with conflicting emotions. As the hours passed, the gathering on both sides grew. Media drones hovered above, broadcasting the event to the entire city, perhaps even beyond. It was during these tense moments that a group from the opposing side broke away, heading towards Eli and Illyria's assembly. Eli's heart raced as he stepped forward. Illyria at his side. He raised his hand, signaling for peace. "We're not here to fight," he called out, his voice amplified by the speakers they had set up. "We're here to talk. We share this city, this world. Let's find a way to coexist." The advancing group halted, seemingly taken aback by the calm demeanor of the young speakers. A middle-aged man stepped forward from their ranks, his expression hard but curious. "Why should we trust you? Why should we trust her?" he asked, nodding towards Illyria. Illyria responded, her voice steady. "Because I, like you, want a peaceful life. I came here seeking refuge and education, not conflict. We have more in common than you think." A tense dialogue ensued, watched by countless eyes. Questions were posed, some harsh, others merely inquisitive. Eli and Illyria answered each one, supported by cheers and nods from their group. As sunset approached, the confrontation that many had feared would end in violence instead concluded with a handshake. It wasn't a resolution, not completely, but it was a beginning. Some from the opposing group even crossed the street to join in the discussions, their faces a mix of reluctance and newfound curiosity. In the days that followed, the impact of their peaceful resistance began to show. Invitations for dialogues flooded in, from schools, community centers, even local government offices. Eli and Illyria had turned a potential clash into a platform for dialogue, proving that even in the face of adversity, empathy and understanding could prevail. The weeks following the peaceful protest saw a subtle yet profound shift in the atmosphere of Metropolis 5. Media outlets that had once sensationalized the presence of aliens began to present more balanced views, featuring stories of successful integration and cooperation. Schools across the city, inspired by the Intergalactic Relations Club, started their own initiatives, fostering dialogues between species and cultures. In this newfound climate of understanding, Eli and Illyria found themselves invited to participate in a citywide conference on interspecies relations, aimed at policymakers, educators, and community leaders. The event was to be held at the Civic Hall, a grand structure renowned for its history of hosting significant political and social gatherings. On the morning of the conference, the hall buzzed with anticipation. Participants from various sectors and species mingled, exchanging greetings and ideas. Eli and Illyria, now seasoned in public engagements, prepared their presentation with a calm focus, aware of the importance of their message. Their session was scheduled right after the keynote speech by the mayor, who spoke eloquently about the city's commitment to diversity and the challenges it still faced. As Eli and Illyria took the stage, the applause was warm and encouraging. "We stand before you as representatives of what can be achieved through mutual respect and understanding," Eli began, his voice echoing in the vast hall. "Our friendship, which started with simple curiosity, has grown into a movement that has touched every corner of our community." Illyria continued, "Today, we are not just advocating for coexistence but for active cooperation. We have seen firsthand how fear and misunderstanding can be transformed into collaboration and friendship." Their presentation included data from the school's initiatives, testimonials from other students, and visual aids showing community events that had bridged gaps between different groups. The audience was visibly moved by the compelling narrative woven by the young speakers, their message resonant and clear. As the conference progressed, breakout sessions provided a platform for deeper discussions. Eli and Illyria led a workshop titled "Building Bridges, Tools for Interspecies Understanding," which was met with enthusiastic participation. The strategies they shared, derived from their own experiences and the activities of their club, gave practical advice on fostering dialogue and understanding in diverse communities. The day concluded with a panel discussion involving leaders from various planets in the Galactic Union. Eli and Illyria were asked to share their vision for the future of interspecies relations. Illyria, taking the lead, spoke with a passion that captivated the room. "Our vision is one where fear is replaced by curiosity, where differences are celebrated as strengths. We envision a society where every individual, regardless of their origin, can contribute to a collective future." The conference ended on a note of optimistic determination. Many attendees approached Eli and Illyria afterward, expressing their admiration and support for their work and their desire to implement similar programs in their own sectors. As they left the Civic Hall, the impact of their efforts was undeniable. What had started as a simple school club had evolved into a powerful advocacy platform, influencing policy and public opinion. But beyond the accolades and the acclaim, the true success lay in the countless small changes they had inspired. The conversations started, the minds opened, and the community strengthened. In the wake of the conference, the momentum behind Eli and Illyria's initiative seemed unstoppable. The seeds they had planted grew rapidly, nurtured by a community now eager to embrace diversity and collaboration. Yet, as is often the case in periods of change, not all were ready to let go of old prejudices. A pivotal moment arrived unexpectedly one evening when Eli received an urgent message from Illyria. She had been targeted by a small yet vocal group opposed to alien integration. They had vandalized her home with hateful graffiti and threatening messages. The attack was a stark reminder of the resistance still simmering beneath the surface of societal progress. Eli rushed to Illyria's side, finding her standing amidst the chaos, her usual radiant composure clouded by distress. Her family, who had come to see Metropolis 5 as a beacon of hope, were shaken. "We can't let this stop us," Eli said firmly, his voice cutting through the heavy air. "If anything, this shows why our work is more important than ever." Illyria nodded, her resolve hardening. "We will respond not with fear, but with a reaffirmation of our commitment to unity." The following day, they organized a community cleanup event. The response was overwhelming. Hundreds of people, including many who had once stood on the sidelines, came out to support Illyria and denounce the actions of the extremists. The event was not just about cleaning up, it was a public display of solidarity, capturing the attention of the entire city and even making headlines in the broader galactic news networks. Buoyed by the support, Eli and Illyria used this incident as a catalyst to launch their most ambitious project yet, the Harmony Initiative. This program was designed to facilitate deeper integration through shared community projects, educational programs, and cultural exchanges. It aimed not only to build bridges, but to fortify them against the winds of ignorance and hatred. The first major event under the Harmony Initiative was a festival celebrating the diverse cultures of Metropolis 5. The festival featured music, food, and art from dozens of different species, each booth and performance a testament to the richness that diversity brings. Eli and Illyria spoke at the opening ceremony, their message of hope and resilience echoing throughout the jubilant crowds. As we stand here today, surrounded by the vibrant tapestry of our community, we see not just what is, but what can be, Eli proclaimed, sweeping his hand over the crowd. Today we celebrate not just our differences, but our shared dreams and aspirations. Illyria added, "Let this festival be a reminder of the beauty of unity. Let it stand as proof that from adversity can come strength, from diversity, harmony." The festival was a resounding success, becoming an annual event anticipated by all. Schools across the city adopted the curriculum developed by the Harmony Initiative, teaching young minds the value of empathy and the importance of diverse perspectives in solving complex problems. Years passed, and the landscape of Metropolis 5 transformed. What once was a tentative experiment in integration became a model for other cities. Eli and Illyria, now respected leaders in their community, continued to promote their vision of a unified society, speaking at events and consulting on similar projects around the galaxy. Their friendship, tested by time and trials, remained a cornerstone of their lives, a constant reminder of the power of understanding and the bonds that can form when hearts and minds are open.